Welcome to the technical session on quantity surveying of the Annual International Research Conference 2021, Faculty of Built Environment and Spatial Sciences of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. I would also like to inform you that this session also being virtually connected with the Southern Campus KDU as well. This technical session will be originated by following expert panel. Professor Sandanayake, Professor in Quantity Surveying, Department of Quantity Surveying from University of Vocational Technology. Dr. P.G.R.N.I. Pusalla, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Geomatics, Sandagomika University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Kathriarachchi, Head of Department of Construction Technology, University of Vocational Technology. This technical session will be chaired by Professor Yasangika, Professor in Building Economics, Department of Building Economics, University of Moratuwa. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a brief introduction about this eminent academic. Professor Yasangika is attached to Department of Building Economics, Faculty of Architecture, University of Moratuwa. Professor Sandanayake was a former head of department and she is a current program director for MSc in Construction Law and Dispute Resolution degree program. She has obtained her BSc in Quantity Surveying degree from University of Moratuwa, Sri Lanka, and PhD from University of Wolverhampton, United Kingdom. Professor Yasangika is Scientific Committee Chair of the World Construction Symposium since 2012 and joint editor of the Built Environment Project and Assess Management and Emerald Journal. In addition, she has been a resource person and invited speaker for leading conferences and workshops. Her research interests include value management, performance management, lean construction, construction supply chain management, and facility management. She has published over 80 journal and conference papers in field of built environment and has supervised a number of doctoral and MPhil theses related to her field of studies. Professor Sandanayake has received many national and international awards, including several Emerald Research Award and FARU 2017 Award. Dear Madam, let me read an opportunity to chair this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Am I audible and can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible and we can see you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the technical session 2 on quantity surveying of the 14th Annual International Research Conference organized by General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. And first of all, I would like to thank Rector of Southern Campus, Major General Prasad Edrisinghe, Dean, Faculty of Built Environment and Spatial Sciences, Dr. Harinder Lakmal, Deputy Dean, Faculty of Defence and Strategic Studies, Commander Chintana Munasinghe, and also Head Department of Quantity Surveying, Dr. Sanjay Jayasooriya, for inviting me to this conference to chair this technical session. And also I would like to welcome 3 judges. A few known faces are there. Professor Sandanayake, one of my very senior colleague, Dr. Indika Pusalla and Dr. Kasunandapala, who will be judging the best paper awards in these sessions. And this is the 5th time that I'm chairing this technical session. I first chaired this technical session in 2017, and since that point, I'm chairing annually this technical session. So thank you very much for inviting me to chair this session. And this was a forum that we used to meet physically at KDU premises, but unfortunately, due to this COVID pandemic, we lost that opportunity to meet and share our views and thoughts. But still, thanks to the technology, we can still meet virtually. So without further ado, we'll move into the presentation. So during this presentation, each presenter will get 12 minutes for their presentation. So I would like to kindly request you to stick to the time limits, and the times will be indicated in the chat box by the organizers. And also the audience can put their questions to the chat box. So we'll take those questions at the end of 4 presentations. So let's move into the presentations. The first presentation is on, the topic is on the impact of cost reduction methods on cost overruns in the Sri Lankan construction industry. The paper was authored by W.N. Kawmudi, S.D. Jayasooriya, T.C. Kathriarachchi, and H. Lakmal. And today's presenter is Kawmudi. So over to you, Kawmudi. Let me briefly introduce our presenter. Ms. Netmi Kawmudi. She is a lecturer attached to the Department of Quantity Surveying of the Faculty of Built Environment and Spatial Sciences. She holds a BSc degree in Quantity Surveying from the General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. And her research interests includes green building, risk management, sustainable construction, and cost management. So over to you, Kawmudi.
Excuse me, madam, can you hear me?
Now can.
Yeah, madam, the presenter is, there's a problem in the her connection. Can we introduce the second one?
Okay, I'll introduce the second person then. The second presentation is on the paper titled Augmented Reality for Construction Project Monitoring, Challenges and Strategies for Adoption in Sri Lanka, authored by WKGS Lakmal, KATO Ranadewa, NMGH Sandagomika, and JKDDT Jayanetti, and presenting author is Sandagomika. So it is over to you, Sandagomika.
Good morning, everyone. Today, my presentation will be on the augmented reality for construction project monitoring, challenges and strategies for adoption in Sri Lanka. This study was conducted by NMGH Sandagomika, myself, and WKGS Lakmal, KATO Ranadewa, and JKDDT Jayanetti. So this is my presentation outline, which I will be presenting today. And starting with the introduction, the construction industry is dynamic in nature due to the uncertainties in technology and budgets, and therefore has to face many extraordinary changes. So the researchers have highlighted the importance of effective progress monitoring in construction. So construction project monitoring can be experienced in different forms, wherein most of the situations, traditional progress monitoring is practicing, which is very time consuming and leading to several types of errors. Further, it will be causing for higher costs and ineffectiveness due to the requirement of higher workload. Therefore, the requirement of new technologies such as visualization techniques have been identified for construction progress monitoring. Accordingly, the augmented reality have been proposed as one of the best visualization techniques. Augmented reality has the potential to transform job site operations for construction inspectors by saving time, cutting costs, and improving site safety with introduced equipments and connected intelligence. As you can see, these manual construction project monitoring requires more labor, more paperwork, and more procedures, which is very ineffective. Therefore, augmented reality facilitates visualization technology, allowing a user to see virtual information and over reality in real time. It provides a combination of a real scene viewed by a user and a virtual scene generated by a computer. This is very less time consuming and can easily capture the required information with this introduction, with this required information, as you can see in this video. So with this introduction, the research aim of the research problem has been identified for the study. Accordingly, Rowe et al. Have highlighted the necessity of technological advancements in the perspective of construction project monitoring. In this perspective, several researchers have highlighted the suitability of augmented reality due to its variety of benefits that can be obtained. Anyhow, several researchers have identified the challenges that are hindering the successful implementation of augmented reality in construction projects. So in the global context. So however, there is a dearth of research in the area of challenges that can be impacting in successful implementation of augmented reality and strategies to overcome those challenges in the Sri Lankan context. Accordingly, the aim of the study was established to investigate the challenges of implementing augmented reality and strategies to overcome the challenges identified in Sri Lankan construction industry. So starting with the key literature findings, initially we identified how this AR is using as new technological approach for construction project monitoring and why it is using among these different types of technological advancements. So the potentiality of applying several computer vision technologies which are performing a major role in progress monitoring have been identified in the previous literature, such as fixed camera viewpoints, time-lapse images, 4D BIM, and color-coded construction elements based on the metaphor of traffic light colors. But however, any of the above applications are not providing enough information on the construction progress with real-time material information. Thereby, this augmented reality applications with several hardware equipment such as Microsoft HoloLens are emerged in the construction progress monitoring, which are interactive in real time and as well register the virtual imagery with the real world. With that, the authors reviewed what are the challenges in implementing augmented reality in construction industry, which have been provided in the literature findings to the global context. Accordingly, as you can see in this table, some of the challenges that the authors were identified are cost, privacy issues, social rejections, poor experience, etc. With that literature findings, moving to the research methodology, this research study was adopted a qualitative approach since the nature of the research problem necessitates an in-depth investigation and as well the opinions of respondents regarding the challenges and strategies needed to be collected. So therefore the qualitative approach was adopted, and considering the research strategy that the authors adopted, in-depth interview strategy was utilized, and in conducting the in-depth interview, semi-structured interview guideline was used, which allowed the interviewers to ask a structured flow of questions from the interviewees. And the data was collected in two phases with two different types of professional categories. One with the 5 expert interviews with professionals in information communication technology, and communication technology industry, and 5 expert interviews with the professionals in construction industry. So the data collection was conducted, as I have explained earlier, through the in-depth interviews. So at the end, 10 respondents from 2 industries, including ICT and construction industry, were interviewed by the authors. As you can see in this table, this is the profile of the respondents whom we interviewed in this research study. And the collected data was analyzed using code-based content analysis using NVivo 10 software. So moving to the research findings and analysis part, initially the challenges of adopting augmented reality in construction industry were identified by the authors. So accordingly, in the left side of the screen, you can see the challenges identified in the literature synthesis, which we have presented in the previous slides. And after the data collection and analysis, the authors have came up with a set of challenges of adopting augmented reality in construction industry. As you can see in this figure in the right hand side of the slide, and you can see the findings have been highlighted in 2 colors. So accordingly, the yellow color highlighted findings were the literature were same to the literature findings, and these green color highlighted findings were the new empirical findings that the authors identified, and as well some of the literature findings which were reworded after the interviews with the experts. So accordingly, we have identified some of the new challenges of adopting augmented reality, such as lack of knowledge on software and hardware, and unwillingness to change with respect to the new technological advancements, and the unfamiliarity of the Sri Lankan both the professionals and skill unskilled laborers with respect to these new coming emerging technologies, and also some of the challenges which have been initiated from the end of the Sri Lankan government, such as higher tax concessions started with the end of the government. So likewise, those are the challenges that the authors have identified in adopting augmented reality in construction industry. And moving to the next set of research findings, the authors were trying to identify what are the strategies that can be used in order to overcome the identified challenges of adopting augmented reality in construction industry. Accordingly, in order to enhance the knowledge level of both the employees, skill and skill level workers, and coming employees in the coming future, the experts have proposed of including these AR practices to the university level education, and as well in order to enhance the knowledge level of the existing employees, they have identified of conducting some workshops and training programs to the employees, including the top management to the bottom level workers. And the experts have highlighted the academic involvement, the more academic involvement in research and development with respect to these augmented reality applications and the challenges that can be faced by the construction industry practitioners. And also they have highlighted some of the strategies like implementing a proper user guideline, which would be user friendly for the employees who are engaging in these practices newly, and carry out some feasibility studies before coming up with these new technologies to a respective organization. So these are the strategies that have been proposed by the experts that we identified in our study. And finally, this study mapped the challenges of implementing augmented reality with the strategies that the experts have provided to overcome the challenges in Sri Lankan construction industry. So as you can see in this model, the respective challenge, the identified challenges and the respective strategies proposed by the experts have been highlighted and summarized in this model. So finally, as per conclusion and recommendation, the empirical findings of this study highlighted many of the challenges that can be faced by the construction industry practitioners in implementing AR in the construction industry, such as lack of knowledge of the employees and their unwillingness to change with these new advancements and their unfamiliarity with these new technologies. So those are some of the challenges identified in this study. And in order to achieve the construction project success through augmented reality applications, there we identified that several strategies needed to be practiced to overcome the identified challenges. So accordingly, provide knowledge on augmented reality and its applications, conducting workshops on and training programs on these augmented reality applications, and carrying out some feasibility studies before implementing these into a particular organization. These are some of the strategies that have been proposed to successfully implement augmented reality by overcoming the identified challenges. So finally, a model was developed in this study, and it will guide the Sri Lankan construction industry practitioners to understand the possible strategies to successfully implement augmented reality within the construction practice. And as well, we hope that the findings of this study will contribute to the academic knowledge in the areas of the challenges and strategies of implementing augmented reality for construction project management, construction progress monitoring in Sri Lanka. So these are the references that we used in this study, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sandagomika. Can you hear me?
Yes, madam, we can hear you.
Yeah. So thank you, Sandagomika. Helamini Sandagomika is a research scholar of Department of Building Economics, University of Moratuwa, and she earned her BSc in Quantity Surveying degree from University of Moratuwa. She is currently reading for her master's by research in the same university, and she has published journals and conference papers in the research interest areas like lean construction, human capacity building, and IoT. So shall we move into our first presentation again?
Madam, now first presenter is ready. We can invite her to.
Right. Okay. So I would like to invite the first presenter. The topic is on the impact of cost reduction methods on cost overruns in the Sri Lankan construction industry. And presenter is Ms. Kawmudi. So over to you, Kawmudi.
Very good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me and see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. So very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Netmi Kawmudi, a lecturer attached to Department of Quantity Surveying, KDU. Today I'm going to do my research presentation on impact of cost reduction methods on cost overruns in the Sri Lankan construction industry. And my research is co-authored by Dr. S.T. Jayasooriya, PC Kathriarachchi, and Dr. A.H. Lakmal. This is the content of my presentation. The construction industry plays a major role in the development of a country. So in the Sri Lankan context, the construction industry is one of the national engine, contributed approximately 6% to the national GDP. So cost in a construction project is a basic criteria. So at every construction project, we have a proper pre-estimated preliminary estimation at the initial stage in our construction projects. Due to various reasons in Sri Lanka, now currently we're facing a main problem ignored as poor cost performance. So in most construction projects, as I mentioned, though we had a preliminary estimation at the very beginning stage, almost at the final stage, the final completed project cost is always almost higher than the pre-estimated one. So it's very important to complete our construction project within the given time parameters and according to the allocated budget. So there are plenty of various techniques on project cost control during construction projects, but it's though they have a proper variety of cost control techniques, cost overrun is not uncommon all over the world. So the expert in the industry and the construction professionals have to have a proper theoretical knowledge as well as practical skills on behalf of this cost control techniques. So my main objective of the research is to identify the impact of cost reduction methods which currently used over cost overruns on the identify management approaches. So along with that, a sub-objective was created to analyze the relationship between those identify cost reduction methods. So moreover, according to the identify impacts of traditional cost reduction methods, suggestions were made to find modern cost reduction techniques on the Sri Lankan construction industry. So throughout literature surveys, it was observed that the delays and cost overruns are habitually occurring. It's kind of a common phenomena in the developing countries. So as you can see in this figure, the cost, time, and scope are the main three pillars in a construction project. So cost and time are inseparable since extension of time will always lead to additional or extra cost in a project, and it will be ultimately damage the quality of the product, quality of the output. So we have to properly manage the cost of a construction project because without keep an eye on the real cost while in the progress of the project, the successful completion will not be possible. So prior to go for cost reduction methods, it's better to understand or have a better idea about what are the causes of cost overruns. So I have listed out here some of the causes of cost overruns are consequent delays, reworks, awarding the contract to the lowest bidder, lack of monitoring, price fluctuations, and high interest rates are ranked as most occurring causes of cost overruns around the world. So then I was moved to find out what are the traditional methods of cost reductions. As I mentioned, there are plenty enough of methods practicing in the industry. So some of the traditional methods I have found out as controlling human resources, training and make proper management, improve communication, and also apply effective use of resources. So my data collection methods, the primary data collection purely based on a detailed questionnaire survey and also a semi-structured interview. So this is kind of a combination of quantitative and a qualitative analysis. So my population and sampling was project managers, engineers, quantity surveyors, contractors, and clients. For the questionnaire, I have selected stratified random sampling and purposive sampling as selected for the interviews. So my conceptual framework, through a literature survey, I have found out main independent variables. I noted it has management approaches, pre-contract management, post-contract management, human resource management, material management, and change management. Then I have found out a dependent variable, cost reduction and cost overrun. So at the very beginning of my study, I have created a hypothesis to check whether those developed independent variables have a proper relationship with this dependent variable. So my analysis was based on three methods: correlation analysis, regression analysis, and content analysis. So this correlation analysis is done to analyze the relationship between those different variables. For that, I have used Pearson correlation coefficient. This regression analysis I have done to find out which variable has the most impact on the cost reduction. For that, I have used linear regression. So the data gathered through questionnaire was used to analyze both this correlation and regression analysis. So in that case, I have used SPSS software. So that SPSS software has a variety range of equations and also statistical procedures. And then for the content analysis, I have used the data gathered through interviews. So this is the data analysis of my research study. Here comes to the base part of my research, the findings. So in here, as you can see in the figure, so I told you cost is a main criteria in a successful of a project. So cost will be last at the from the very beginning until the demolition of a construction project. So it occurs throughout the life cycle. So throughout the life cycle, regarding cost, there are different kind of parties involved. Industry stakeholders are involved. So in here, I have chose main 5 main industry stakeholders, because based on their thinking capacity, based on their knowledge, and also based on the industry experiences, the answers which given to the questions might be different. So in this case, as you can see, more than 30, most of the questionnaires, most of the interviews I have conducted, like as you can see in the 34%, I have targeted the quantity surveyors, because quantity surveyor is the main person who is well aware about the construction cost. Then I have to move out, then I have to find out whether those parties have experienced cost overruns in their projects. So as you can see in the figure, more than 90% of the respondents were experienced cost overruns in their project life cycles. So it's highlighted that this is a serious problem and there is a need of identifying mitigation measures, cost reduction methods to our construction projects. So correlation analysis, as I mentioned, this is done to identify the relationship between those independent variables and the dependent variable. So Pearson correlation coefficient will be satisfied, here noted as P. If it's less than 0.05, dependent variable have a relationship with particular independent variable. If it's more than 0.05, the dependent doesn't have a proper relationship with particular independent variable. So here I have listed out this data gathered through SPSS software, SPSS generated base data. So in here, left side, the variables, 5 main variables are noted. And in here, it stated that all 5 our independent variables have a positive and a strong relationship to the dependent variable. That means, for an example, if we do proper pre-contract management, that will be negative or positive, that will be positively impact on the cost reduction. That means all these management approaches, if we do effective these management approaches in construction projects, that will be positively effect on our cost reduction. So now we know that there is a positive relationship between those independent and dependent variables. Then I have do the regression analysis to find out what is the impact, or what is the most impacted independent variable for this dependent variable. So this linear regression equation, as you can see in the equation 2, so this is the equation is developed based on the SPSS generated data, and for the easier understanding, I have put this data to this table 3. So same in here as the correlation coefficient analysis, the left side is the management approaches, and in here significance, beta value, and the variation noted. So in here, as you can see, the impact is always less than 50%. That means we have to do more. So except post-contract management, all the other 4 independent variables, so management approaches have a positive impact. So in here, in my research paper, I have identified or have questioned about the current practicing cost reduction methods. So in here, since the post-contract stage is the lengthier period in a construction project, it here minus value, minus 11 impact comes as there is a need of do more cost reduction methods, practice more cost reduction methods, go for modern cost reduction methods in this post-contract management stage. So at the conclusion, we have developed independent variables and dependent variables, and the relationship analyzed through correlation analysis. It comes out as all independent variables have a positive relationship, and then we develop to identify the impact based on the regression analysis, and the identified also discussed. Then focus about need of identifying modern cost reduction strategies, and also interviewees moreover highlight specifically they comment on the implementation issues of those cost reduction methods. For an example, reluctant to change, lack of expertise people, and high cost for the training of people comes as main drawbacks for implementing these cost reduction methods. So in the recommendation part, since I highlight go for modern cost reduction techniques, so still though we are having practice in current practices, it means still we are having cost overruns, means we have to go for modern techniques, modern cost reduction methods. So based on my developed 5 main management approaches, I have identified, and throughout expert people's ideas, I have found out, recommended modern cost reduction techniques which we can practice in those management approaches. For an example, in the pre-contract stage, we can select the appropriate procurement strategy, and risk management approaches can be done. Make proper contingency plans, research and development methods, and mostly, as I mentioned about the post-contract stage, in the post-contract management, the value management, value engineering approaches, more importantly, the sustainable construction implementation, modern construction technologies, and also proper dispute resolution are come up as recommendations for modern cost reduction techniques. So since my paper is moreover discuss about the cost reduction or modern cost reduction techniques, a similar study can be done to identify the modern techniques to reduce the time overruns. Since I told you time and cost are inseparable, so it's important. Further study can be done to identify the modern techniques to reduce the construction time as well. So these are some references I have used to done my research study. And I get this opportunity to pay my sincere gratitude to the General Sir John Kadalawala Defense University, Southern Campus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kawmudi, for that interesting presentation. Let's move into our third presentation. Our third presentation is on the topic of an overview on various techniques and approaches of concurrent delay analysis in Sri Lankan construction industry. The paper was authored by MNA Pushpakumari, C. Hadiwattege, and KT Withanage. And today's presenter is MNA Pushpakumari. Ms. M. Nimesha Anjali Pushpakumari is a graduate who has followed the BSc Honours in Quantity Surveying degree in the Department of Building Economics, University of Moratuwa. So it is over to you, Pushpakumari.
Thank you, madam. Can you hear me, madam?
Yes, very well.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm MNA Pushpakumari, undergraduate of Building Economics Department, University of Moratuwa. The topic of my research is an overview on various techniques and approaches of concurrent delay analysis in the Sri Lankan construction industry. The co-authors of this research are Dr. Ms. C. Hadiwattege and Mr. KT Withanage. This is my presentation outline. Background to the research. Construction delays are caused by the responsibility of different parties for a variety of reasons. Concurrent delays are delays caused by the same delay being the responsibility of both parties. Past researchers have shown that concurrent delays are the most commonly happen, and also choosing a method to analyze concurrent delay is a very difficult task. According to the research background, the research problem can be interpreted this way. Although there are many methods to analyze delays, it is not possible to analyze concurrent delays with all of those methods due to the complexity. So if the concurrent delay is not analyzed correctly, various arguments may arise between the parties and the disputes can happen. So research problem can interpret how to select a viable method to analyze concurrent delays. According to that, research is designed to fulfill this aim through these four objectives. The research aim is investigate the adaptability of different techniques and approaches for concurrent delay analysis in the Sri Lankan construction industry. Literature review. Under literature review, reviewed definitions for concurrent delays, classification, procedures, and what are the methods analyze concurrent delays. And the definition, there is no universally accepted definition for concurrent delays. Different authors define concurrent delays in different viewpoints. In SCL protocol described two concurrency situation as true concurrency and concurrent effects. And those are the 4 types of concurrent delays, the concurrent delay classification. And the SCL and AACEI protocols are the international protocols for concurrent delay analysis. This is the common delay analysis procedure. This procedure takes place through the 3 main stages of pre-analysis, delay analysis, and post-analysis. Here, the delay analysis method is used in the delay analysis stage. Also in the post-analysis, based on the complexity of the claim, we can use legal approaches also to assign responsibilities. Those are the common delay analysis methods, and past researchers was recommended those 6 methods are very suited for analyze concurrent delays. All of those 6 methods are analyzed based on the critical path. Then records play a very important role in the delay analysis. And below categories of records used for delay analysis, among them schedules are the main. Then move to the research methodology. Research design based on the research problem and collected data. For that, qualitative approach used for this research, because here required to collect expert feelings, opinions, and their experience subjectively to confirm literature findings. Hence, expert survey conducted as a research method. Semi-structured interview is the data collection method. Here, in-depth interviews conducted. And finally, for this research, content analysis performed using in vivo software. Therefore, 6 claim experts in the Sri Lankan construction industry who have more than 10 years experiences are selected. This is the respondent profile of expert survey. Now move to the key research findings. According to the expert view, there are 6 types of difficulties regarding concurrent delay analysis. Among them, main challenge is failure to update construction program properly. That means lack of program records. All of the experts stated that unfortunately in the construction industry, maintain the proper program is at weak level. So then lack of human and technical resources are the another 2 challenges, and ambiguity in concurrent delay analysis, and there are no standard provisions in condition of contracts regarding concurrent delays, and attitude of the parties are other challenges. They cited not available accepted definition for concurrent delay as the reason for arise ambiguity in concurrent delays. Then the experts were requested to comment on the relevancy of the identified delay analysis methods to the literature review. So this table shows comparison of literature findings and expert views on methods. In literature findings, those 6 methods are selected as suited for concurrent delay analysis, and these are the experts' view. Also, experts revealed among 6 methods, collapsed as build method, window-based method, time impact analysis method, and snapshot method is very suitable for analyze concurrent delays. Also, expert revealed that not only identified 4 methods, others can use, but those 4 methods are very advanced to use. Same to that, collected data for obtain the required records for selected four methods shown in this table, literature findings and expert findings. According to that, schedules are the main requirement among records, and there are three types of schedule: as planned schedule, as built schedule, and adjusted schedule. Also, the outcome of the research reflected that schedule requirement is very varied among different CPMs. Finally, conclusions. Here, all of the objectives were achieved through the literature review and expert interviews. So under objective 1 can conclude time impact analysis method and window analysis method are more suited for Sri Lankan construction industry for analyze concurrent delays, and under objective 2, current practice and challenges. When analyzing the concurrent delays of an entire project or when complex situation, can use combination of methods. Also in complex situation required to use legal approaches as I previously mentioned. So then malformation approach is most commonly used in Sri Lanka, and there are several challenges identified in regarding concurrent delay analysis. Lack of proper record is the main challenge among them. And objective 3, collapsed as-built method is a subtractive method, and it can proceed without as-planned schedule, but others can't. And window analysis method and snapshot analysis method can produce different result based on the decided length of the window period. And time impact analysis method required periodic updates. Without periodic updates, cannot perform that method. And under objective 4, schedule requirement is varied among different methods. Thus, selection of delay analysis techniques depend on the nature of availability. Then recommendations. According to the research finding, still there is a necessity to improve concurrent delay analysis, especially in the Sri Lankan construction industry. So that can follow these recommendations. Mainly should be focused to maintain records properly. Then can be developing various systems to maintain records and quality programming softwares, and we can increase the awareness of concurrent delays in construction parties can be considered as the recommendations. Those are the references which I used for this research. And finally, acknowledgement. Here I like to acknowledge all of the parties who provided relevant information and their constant assistance, supervision, guidance, encouragement throughout this process, especially my research supervisor, Dr. Hadiwattege Madam, and my assistant supervisor, Mr. Kanchuka Sir. Without their assistance, I cannot successful this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pushpakumari, for that interesting presentation. We'll take the questions during the Q&A session. So let's move into our final presenter. The presentation is on contractor-related cost overrun, courses, controlling techniques, and controlling tools and techniques. A study on selected building construction projects in Colombo district. The paper was authored by KK Hansika, GPMCH Bandara, and AP Karunaratna. And today's presenter is Ms. Hansika. She is an undergraduate student at Higher National Diploma in Quantity Surveying, NVQ Level 6 course of Department of Quantity Surveying, University College of Puliapitiya, attached to the University of Vocational Technology, Sri Lanka. So it is over to you, Hansika.
Thank you, madam. Good morning, all.
Hello, Hansika. Is there any technical issue?
Madam, there seems to be a small technical error.
Okay. Do you have a video recording to play or?
Yes, madam, we will play that video record.
Right, okay.
Good morning, Conference Panel Chairman, other panel members, distinguished guests, authors, and dear participants. I am K.K. Krishani Hansika, representing University College of Kuliapitiya, attached University of Vocational Technology, Sri Lanka. First of all, I would like to thank KDU for giving this valuable opportunity to present the paper in this 14th International Research Conference. As you can see in the topic, we have primarily attempt to conduct a research under the theme of cost overrun related to Sri Lankan construction industry. Would you believe that nearly 1/10 to the Sri Lankan gross development product contributes by the Sri Lankan construction industry? According to Jayanetti, it was 7.13% in 2019. Therefore, it is very much essential for managing of construction project in Sri Lankan economic perspective. Cost is one of the key fundamental control or managing of construction project, and as expressed by Lankan, there is a substantial necessity to manage cost in Sri Lankan construction project. Let's move on to problem identification. However, cost increases up to 14 to 42% of contract sum is evident, and as Jayanetti elaborated, it was a rapid increase in the recent past. Then it became a critical issue to be addressed, especially by the contractor, as the key contributor to the majority of cost overrun sequences. Hence, the study primarily attempt to identify the real contractor-related cost overrun courses aiming to propose a controlling mechanism to minimize the impact of cost overrun. Due to the wide scope of variants exist with the topic, certain limitations have been made. Post-contract cost controlling of building construction project of above C3 level contractors, either completed or ongoing in between 2010 to 2019 were considered accordingly. Let's move on to literature findings. According to the number of researchers, cost studies were apparent in various research studies. Meantime, researchers like Malkante, Ortium, Omotayo, etc. suggest the importance of studying cost overrun and cost control. Though there are various cost controlling techniques used by the contractor in Sri Lanka. Cost overrun frequently experienced by them in most of building construction projects. Hence, there was a requirement to identify the causes behind that issue. As you can see in the slide, number of causes were identified. Among them, poor time management, inaccurate quantity takeoff, poor site management, etc. Among these causes, we can categorize under project management related causes, personnel related causes, document related causes, other external causes, and so on. The detailed literature review conducted with the support of local and international research papers was finally recited. For 21 causes behind contractor-related cost overrun. Services availability on site not sufficiently exposed, lack of relationship between the management and labor were some of them. Let's move on to methodology. In order to demonstrate the literature review findings within the Sri Lankan context, 3 primary interviews were conducted and checked contextual applicability of the courses. Ultimately, 25 refined courses identified and tested the same, including 4 number of documented tools for cost controlling and 12 numbers of techniques for cost controlling through a questionnaire survey. It was conducted among elite construction professionals belonging to building construction projects selected by following the snowball sampling technique. Then we can see the result overall response. According to 77.5% responded and majority responded to contract party. And most of them are quantity surveyors. Quantity surveyors are the cost managers. So they have wide idea of cost controlling and cost overrun in Sri Lankan projects. Tabulated result of RII values and the ranking of cost-related causes are summarized as follows. Key section of the questionnaire were analyzed with the support of relative important index formula. By looking at the result obtained, we could realize that the number of project management related causes were among the top most causes behind post-contract cost overrun in Colombo district building projects. Though this result was slightly deviated from the findings of local researchers like Malkanti, Mahavatta exaggerated the relevancy of project management skills and competencies for cost control. However, shortage of labor, material, and plant is not as much as a prominent cause in this research as some local research found. Moreover, various unexpected and external organizational causes and also construction errors and variation are not significantly triggered for cost overrun in the project examined. Then, the use of cost control in documented tools as follows: BOK item, unit rates, curve, engineering are these tools. The result further proposed the use of BOK items and unit rates as the cost controlling tools in a post-contract stage, though the most popular tool was S-curve. Abubakar also obtained a similar result according to a developed construction industry. Then, the result of the use of cost controlling technique proposed the use of indicated labor controlling, work programming, record keeping, and regular work inspection as the significant cost controlling techniques, and it was nearly to the similar result made by most local researchers. However, to complete performance index is less significant and has a controlling techniques in this research, though it has a prominence in other researches. Taking everything account, project management and quantity surveys related to the contracting parties have vital role to play over reduction of contractor-related cost overrun causes. Accordingly, improvements of contractor-side project management skills in areas such as stakeholder management, communication management, and schedule management are essentially required. However, extensive use of BOQ items and unit rates and project management tools are essential to minimize the cost overrun in Colombo district building construction project. However, as stated in the slide, there are further gaps to be filled in order to produce a sound cost overrun minimizing framework and to generalize the finding of the study. These are my references that I used to success my research and gather more information to achieve the goal of my research. And this is the best time to remind my co-authors, Mr. Bandara and Mr. Kathriarachchi. Thank you very much, sir, for encouraging me to success this research. And I would like to thank Mr. Sampa for believing in me and supporting me in every time. And my special dedication goes to academic panel of my department and all the industry experts who supported during this research. At last, but not least, my special gratitude goes again to KDU for giving this valuable opportunity today in this 14th International Research Conference. Thank you everyone and have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Hansika, for that a very interesting presentation. So we have now finished all 4 presentations and come to the discussion and Q&A session. So during this technical session, we had 4 presentations, and the first paper was presented by Kawmudi, and the paper investigated the impact of cost reduction methods on cost overruns in the Sri Lankan construction industry. And the second paper was presented by Sandagomika. They investigated the challenges and strategies for adoption of augmented reality for construction project monitoring in Sri Lanka. And the third presenter was Pushpakumari, and their paper, in their paper, they provided an overview on various techniques and approaches for concurrent delay analysis in Sri Lankan construction industry. And our final presenter was Hansika, and they studied the contractor-related cost overrun courses, controlling tools and techniques based on selected building construction projects in Sri Lanka. So we had a very interesting 4 presentations, very informative 4 presentations. So it is now time for Q&A session. So it is, I would like to invite the audience to ask the questions or clarifications and or give feedback to the presenters. If you have any question, you can put it into the chat box, or you can ask the presenters. Yes, Professor Jayalat?
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Kawmudi, you did a good presentation on the cost reduction methods, which is timely and its validity still persists. I'm agreeing with the quantitative approach you have taken to utilize in this particular study using regression and correlation. But I have just one clarification. How did you come across these 5 independent or dependent variables, pre-contract management, post-contract management, human resource management, and so on? I got a feeling that maybe you have missed one slide in between, I don't know. Can you explain as to how these 5 key variables were picked up?
First thing, based on a proper, I have done a literature survey. Prior to do this research, I have done additional research regarding causes of cost overrun. So during my study, I have identified, and moreover, more people commented on about these management approaches. So based on a literature survey, but they commented on those management approaches, moreover about the pre-contract and post-contract management approaches. So regarding, including those two, I have identified three management approaches as my independent variable by doing a hypothesis at the very beginning of the study.
So if you establish the hypothesis at the outset, then you have to verify at the end of the study. Since that I come across such a situation, you never mention any hypothesis in your presentation.
Yes, sir. The hypothesis was to find out whether the data is having a relationship or not between those independent variables and the developed dependent variable. So in my correlation analysis, I have proved that there is a strong and a positive relationship with those independent and dependent variable.
Except, of course, one particular variable. There was a minus situation. Okay. What about the modern methods? We are talking about the modern cost control or cost reduction methods. Yes. I was desperate of listening to modern methods, but I didn't come across anything.
Yeah. Okay. So one example, now we almost talk about the value engineering approaches and value management approaches. So in construction industry, basically in Sri Lankan context, that's kind of just a nomination. Value management and value engineering. Instead of that, okay, we know that there is a concept like value engineering and value management, but instead of just pretend them as a concept, we do have to more approach in the pre-contract as well as the post-contract management approaches, and also the sustainable construction. It's also like in the moreover in the international platform, they do practice lean concept, sustainable approaches, supply chain management. So what my point is, still in construction in our industry in Sri Lankan context, though we practicing some kind of cost reduction methods, in my point, instead of just keep them as a concept, we do have to more apply in the context.
Kawmudi, actually, just a piece of opinion. You can't say in my opinion when you are doing a research, then there's a bias in that. You are bringing your preconceived idea and try to establish out of your research. So that is not necessarily research. Research is where you establish the hypothesis and try to verify via a particular, scientific approach. So better not to bring your experience and try to establish, but generally the overall in output of the research has some sense. That's I can confirm. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the comments.
Thank you, Professor Kawmudi. I also have a couple of things to clarify. It's a very interesting research area, and you have brought up some interesting findings. Now, in the variables that you have identified some sub-indicators, right? Have you used those sub-indicators in your analysis, and how you have used those sub-indicators? That is one question. And the second question regarding the approaches, as Professor Jayalat said, the novel approaches. One approach that you have identified is dispute resolution methods. Now, there are a lot of different types of dispute resolution methods. So what novel methods that you are now suggesting?
Okay, thank you very much for the questions, ma'am. For the first question regarding my conceptual framework that developed independent variables. So I have identified 5 main management approaches, as I mentioned: pre, post, change management, and material management, and human resource management. So in those 5 main approaches, I have subsections as you explained, ma'am. So regarding my question here, I have questioned, for an example, in the pre-contract management, I have questioning the current practices. So I want to see the impact, whether this is effective on the industry or not. So in that case, in the pre-contract management, I have questioned about the risk assessment approaches and whether they are using proper contingency plans, and also proper documentation in the tendering processes, and also pre-qualification assessment, more importantly, to select the suitable contractor, the bidder for the suitable contractor to the projects, the pre-qualification assessment and feasibility study, and also proper time allocation during the pre-contract stage, whether they are giving proper time allocation. Because moreover, clients and also almost the consultants also only focusing about the post-contract stage. Yes, of course, it's very important. It's a lengthy period, but prior to that, based on researchers, based on literature, have questioned whether they have given proper time allocation or proper consideration regarding the pre-contract as well. And also in the post-contract stage, under subsection, I have a question about the government involvement, whether they are providing proper loans and funding facilities, and also client financial stability separately and the contractor financial stability separately, and proper decision making. The decisions have to be made on point. When the questions arise on point, we have to make decisions. Likewise, post-contract management, I have answered subsectors. In the human resource management, labor turnover.
Yeah. And how about that dispute resolution?
Yeah. Okay. For the second question, ma'am, I have in my recommendations pointed out that go for proper dispute resolution. So now, due to the complexity, and we do have more different parties involving in the industry, they do have different perspectives. So when once a dispute resolution occurs, we almost go for litigation or for some court cases. So instead of that, we can use ADR methods, alternative dispute resolution methods. First go for negotiation, then go for conciliation, then go for arbitration. Finally, if there is no option, only we can go for the other processes. Because ultimately, if you have to go for that litigation kind of processes, that the construction cost and also time will be damaged, and the time and cost are inseparable. Since that case, we have to go for ADR, alternative dispute resolution methods.
Okay, thank you, Kawmudi. Any more questions for Kawmudi from the audience? Right.
Yeah, Professor. See, Yasangika, we have two other panel members on board. We have two other panel members also on board.
Yes, President Chandana.
No, I don't have.
Dr. Nanda Pusala, yes, Doctor.
Yes, I don't have any question.
How about Dr. Kasun?
Yeah, you have already covered the things that I was about to ask, especially.
Right. Okay, Kasun. So shall we move into the second presenter? Second presenter is Helmini Sandagomika, and the topic was on augmented reality. Any questions from the panel or audience for Sandagomika?
Yeah, Ms. Sandagomika, I'm very much fond of this type of modern topics. Actually, they are still topical, the augmented reality. A lot of research have been carried out at the moment in both the local and international context. Well, you said the unwillingness of the employers to embrace augmented reality has been found out in your research. How can you say specifically there's an unwillingness on the side of the employees to adopt this augmented reality in their organizations? Because as a research outcome, you have to be very, very careful unless you research specifically on the unwillingness aspect. Okay, you should not mention. Be careful. But if you have research on that aspect as well to gauge the perception and see among the employees, yes, there's an unwillingness, then you can do so. How do you account for that?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the question raised. Actually, we came up with this particular strategy while we interviewed the interviewees in our data collection process. Here, what they have explained is the top management in some of the companies, the top management who are engaging in decision making are still still don't have an interest in going for these novel technologies because they are still these youngsters or the young people who are coming to the construction industry are obviously having this interest and willingness to engage in these novel technologies, but these in some of the cases, these top management who are, who are not very aware or very fond of these new technologies are not in the position or not in a mentality to integrate these new technologies to their organizations, mainly because of these higher initial cost or due to the higher tax concessions incorporated by the government. Due to these cases, because they are looking for the they are looking for the short-term benefits in most of the cases, rather looking for the long-term benefits that they can achieve through the implementation of these new technologies. So
I understand, Sandagomika. Now the thing is, there is always a resistance. If you come up with something new, something innovative, naturally resistance comes, even among the professionals, because they think that it's a threat to their conservative systems. Okay, and clients are too don't want to go up to such an extent. They are thinking that it's a risk. Yes. So how can we navigate this?
Yes.
With some recommendations.
Yeah. What the respondents were highlighted is, in order to avoid these unwillingness or the risk or the fear towards the new technologies, they have explained like, yes, you can go for a cost benefit analysis, something like that. You can show what is the long-term benefit or long-term advantage that most of the stakeholders of the construction organization can be achieved, like the investors, even though they have to bear a higher initial cost in investing for these.
Okay, point is taken. Thank you. Point is taken.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, President. Sandagomika, I also have a small question related to that. So if people are a little reluctant to go for these novel techniques, so why do you think the construction industry should go for augmented reality, and why the government should give tax benefits to those implementers?
Yes, madam. As I have already explained, we interviewed some professionals from the ICT, in ICT industry as well. So what they highlighted is there are many fields currently who are practicing these augmented reality applications within the Sri Lankan context, such as medicine, defense and security. So those are the fields who are already applying these augmented reality techniques, and they are gaining much more benefits in those fields. So in this particular research, what we focus is,
what are the areas that we can use in our construction industry? For what purposes that we can use augmented reality?
Yes, in this particular, because what we are suggesting is this augmented reality is globally accepted in the construction industry, in the fields of construction progress monitoring, in the fields of ensuring health and safety of the workers, and in the field of enhancing the data security of the construction projects. So likewise, they have and yeah, also in the global context, they have highlighted the importance of 4D BIM with respect to the augmented reality, mainly in the design stage, and not only in the construction stage, even in the design stage as well. And also the construction stakeholders can collaboratively work within this augmented reality environment, because one of the main intentions of the augmented reality is to bring those virtual prototyping images into one particular platform. In that case, almost all the stakeholders can work in a collaborative working environment.
Right.
Likewise.
Okay. Sandagomika. Any question? Any other questions for Sandagomika from the audience or the panel?
Yeah, I have one question and one comment. Yeah, as you
Okay.
have said, you have said, it's of no use unless we go for 4D in these kind of cases like AR or VR. We have to go for 4D because otherwise, it's the cost we cannot really justify. So, like if you can do a further study on this 4D and integrate that into that, you would produce something remarkable. And the question that I have is, now we have interviewed a set of ICT professionals. So what was the intention and what is their perception on this? That's something novel that I haven't seen before.
Yes, sir. Initially, when we thought of collecting data from the construction industry professionals, most of the construction industry professionals are lack with these knowledge about the novel technologies. So most of the professionals are having this traditional mindset, and they don't have that much experience of using these novel technologies within the construction projects of the Sri Lankan construction industry. So they don't have this huge knowledge on the augmented reality applications or the whatever the hardware, so softwares like Microsoft HoloLens. Likewise, those applications are not that much familiar with the construction industry professionals. But anyhow, as I mentioned earlier, these ICT industry professionals are very much fond with these augmented reality applications to some extent within the Sri Lankan context. So in order to have a good understanding in our perspectives as well, that is why first we went to the ICT professionals and then went to the construction industry professionals, because our research.
Okay, yeah. Sandagomika, yeah, we understood. So we have two more presenters and we have five more minutes left. Any questions for last two presenters, Pushpakumari and Hansika, from the panel or from the audience? I have one question for Hansika. Now, your research was limited to Colombo district, and even the topic reflect Colombo district. So, don't you think that your findings are applicable to Sri Lankan construction context? Hansika, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can. Can you speak a little louder?
I selected Colombo district because I have a limited time to success my research. Because I did this research in my HND in computer survey in my University College of Hadiwattege.
So aren't they applicable to the Sri Lankan construction industry? Is there any reason for limiting your findings to Colombo district?
Colombo district, various within construction, I can select various.
Have you identified any factors relating to or limiting to Colombo district?
Yes, because many projects are selected for this research. I can find in Colombo district. Other than that, most of above C3 contractors they have projects in Colombo district. As well, I selected many projects in Colombo district.
I'm not very sure whether it is necessary to limit this study into Colombo district. That I'm not very sure, but anyway, it is good to expand your study to other areas or other districts or to the entire country and see whether there will be any differences in your findings. Any question to presenter number 3, Pushpakumari or Hansika from the panel?
Well, regarding the concurrent delays, which is and
Yes, question is to Pushpakumari.
Yeah, that's right. I have been justly waiting to see any particular method could be picked up for ascertaining the extent of delays. But then Pushpakumari ended up with saying that a method and Windows method are the most appropriate. Okay. I think concurrent delay would be measurable only there is a as-built component. You can't work anything with the plan stuff. I mean, plan programs. You have to have something to compare with the actual eventualities that happen at the site level for the past couple of months or so. Therefore, the only option is to go by time impact analysis method. So that is natural. It is understood actually. But it has become now one of your key outcomes of the research. So Hansika, I don't think that that itself is enough as an outcome of your research when you do concurrent, because concurrent delay, of course, there's a definition. There are definitions assigned to. Maybe your sample, the population may not that be smart enough to talk about concurrent delay, because it is always used as a shield and sword, both sides. Okay.
Okay,
so,
sir.
That is my point of view. This is not a question for you, but it's just a piece of opinion. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you
very
Professor.
much, sir.
We can have one question if you have, and we can finish the session. Any question from the panel? Right. So it seems there are no more questions. So we have come to the end of this session, and to sum up this session, so in summary, during this session, authors have presented their research findings on novel research topics, such as augmented reality, and they have presented critical issues such as cost overruns and concurrent delay analysis related issues faced in Sri Lankan construction industry. And in overall, the researchers have used qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method research approaches to find out solutions for their identified research questions. And I'm really happy to see the growth of this annual symposium during last 5 years, especially in terms of quality of papers presented at these technical sessions. And today there were over 150 participants joined virtually, so which is a very good sign. This time I can see the diverse presentations from KDU staff, University of Moratuwa, and Univatech students. So I'm really happy to see the diversity of the participation. And I hope you will be able to attract both local and foreign presentations in the next time in 2022 KDU conference. So once again, I would like to thank the Rector of Southern Campus, Major General Edrisinghe, Dean Dr. Lakmal, Deputy Dean Commander Munasinghe, Head Dr. Jayasooriya, and also judges Professor Chandana Jayala, Dr. Indika Pusalla and Kasun Nandapala for their contribution throughout this period and during today's session. And I would like to thank the entire organizing committee of this conference. They provided information to all chairperson and I think judges on time. Their organizing was very, very excellent. And I would like to thank participants. As I mentioned earlier, it is really great to see more than 150 participants joined virtually to share their ideas and to gain knowledge. So I wish all the very best for the paper presenters and the conference organizers and participants. And thank you very much once again and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. With the conclusions of the proceedings of the technical session on quantity surveying of 14th Annual International Research Conference, Faculty of Built Environment and Spatial Sciences of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the chair and all the presenters for their valued contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, the proceedings of the session on quantity surveying hereby concluded. The proceedings of the architecture session will be started at 1 p.m. after the lunch. Thank you.